Last time when I had my episodes, I was talking about procedural generation and algorithms, procedural generation algorithms. Now, after that, wanted to move on to the Nemesis system, and the Nemesis system is a game mechanic that was introduced by Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, back in 2014, and it later featured it. Hey, what's up, Mark? But it later featured it in its sequel, Middle Earth: Shadow of War, which was in 2017. And it was developed by Monolith Productions. Now, the thing that's unique about the Nemesis system is that it's a dynamic system that focuses on like the interaction between the player and the enemies they face. Okay. So, like when you're what it basically does is it creates like a personalized and like an evolving narrative in the game. You know what I mean? So like the system is enhancing the player engagement, and how it's doing it is it's generating a memorable active experience, okay, where the player acts, where your actions actually influence the behavior, and the development of the people or the non-playing characters, the NPCs within the game. You know what I'm saying?
Give me an example.
Okay, so with the dynamics behind the enemies, okay, and your relationships with them, the Nemesis system has the ability to track and evolve individual enemies based on your interactions with them. So, like, if you encounter an enemy, or and you defeat them, or if you're defeated by them, that specific enemy has a history and progression that's affected by those interactions. So the next time you turn around and you run into them, they're going to actually remember the battle that you've just had with them, and they're going to freaking they're going to, you know what I'm saying? So that ends up that actually leads to like the creation of rivalries, personal vendettas, and grudges. You know what I mean? And it's tracked across the game, so no matter where you're at, freaking that character is always going to remember you. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
So
if you've been aggressive for your previous game, then you will remember that, and we'll try to counter that.
Yeah, and on some of the games, the game for this right here, okay. When it comes to playing freaking Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor, I played that one, okay, and it was really interesting because like when I would fight an enemy and I got defeated by him, whenever I went back to fight him again, he always remembered me, and he had some smart ass freaking comment to say.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and not all of them were like different every single time. He'd sometimes say the same thing, over again. But he would always he would always remember exactly who I was, and he'd always have something to say. It wasn't always the same, but it wasn't always different either. So now the whole the core of the Nemesis program is its ability to track and evolve like individual enemies based on the player's interactions. You know what I mean? And if the player encounters an enemy and he defeats him, or he's defeated by him, like I said, the enemy's history and progression are affected either by you beating them or you freaking losing to them. Now, enemies in the Nemesis program have also have like distinctive personalities. You know what I mean? And they've got certain strengths and weaknesses, and they even have their own story and stuff. Like whenever I was playing the Shadows of Mordor, there was only like for the bosses, there was only like a specific way that you could defeat these guys. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't go in there and do it. Well, actually, you could defeat them hand to hand, but they had weaknesses where if you were able to use like say one of the orcs had a fear of fear of fire, okay, and he was around a fire and you blew it up, that orc would turn green and get scared and run. You know what I mean? This big badass orc would just turn into a coward and run like a chicken. So that was something that was really, really cool that I thought was a part of the game as well. So I don't know. It was
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Now also when the enemy survives an encounter with you, they remember, and that's where I was going back to before. Now the interaction, it might grow in power or rank or within their faction too. So they would rank up is what would happen. So like say they had a pecking order basically within the game where you had like different levels, like you had corporals and colonels, or if you're thinking like the military, then you had your generals. Yeah. Well, the game actually has its own hierarchy like that, and you get to pick which ones that you want to focus on and go after, and the game will actually give you a path to where you can go to it to get to them. And the more you kill, the more people or orcs that you kill in the game, especially the ones who have a rank, the more this hierarchy changes. So, and they'll literally show like a scene where they're all standing in rows, and when you kill one of them, freaking another one will come in and kill it, and then stand in its place, so that it takes the place of the one who you killed. So all of a sudden you have a new enemy that takes the place of the other one. And the cool part is if you
strength and weaknesses.
That was
with its own strengths and weaknesses, which may not be the same as the previous. Yeah,
right, exactly. And the cool part about it is if you run out of if they run out of bosses, like that whole slot is gone. All it's going to do is show a dead orc laying there. So you can eventually go through and kill every single boss and the ones that replace them until you come to the last person. And that was one thing that I really did enjoy about playing that game. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is actually one of the funnest games I've ever played when it comes to newer games and stuff. And here lately, to be honest with you, the way I'm getting sick of retro games, I mean, I can probably safely say it is my favorite game for now. One of my favorite games for now. So, but
yeah.
If you ever want to play this game too, you don't have to go on Steam. I've done episodes in the past with Karma where I've showed like how to use emulators. And if you ever want to,
what age is the game? What year was it released?
The game is in 2014, I believe. Yeah, the game when it came out was in
So we're talking
2014.
about Windows 7 era.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, we're talking about
it's
Windows 7 era. Yeah.
it's more set up. Well, you can play it on computer, but it's more set up towards console games too. So, uh,
Yeah.
but it is computer friendly. So,
Mm.
and I believe that I played that on yeah, on the RPCS3. That's a really good emulator to play games on. Uh,
Mm.
and it's like I said, I made previous in my last season for this. I made previous videos where I went through the emulators that I'd done. So if you have any problems with it, let me know. And if you want to do it, and you can just play it for free.
But there's a Windows thing, then it should be able to run smoothly, or better, it should be able to run smoothly through Wine.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to, if you want to, you can go ahead and get it off Steam. I don't think it's really that expensive. I believe it's actually a pretty good price, but I just wanted to put it out there.
To be honest, I've got a load of games there that I haven't touched on. Well, I don't get time to play anything lately.
Shit. You'd play this game, dude, and I'm telling you, you'd fall in love with it. Dead serious. Because, like, you know how me, you, and Tan would play, like, the original Doom together?
Yeah.
Like, this is freaking way better than Doom, dude. Seriously. And if you can play multiplayer on it, which I'm not sure if you can or not, because I played it on an emulator. But if you can play this with multiple
You're
players,
talking about June 2, not June. Yeah, you're talking about June 2, which is an RTS. June 1 was a, I don't know, it was a sort of weird mix between a RTS and a sort of point-and-click adventure type thing. It's a weird thing.
it was, yeah, I remember
cool.
that one. Yeah, you're right. We played that one. We played that one, I think, on what was it? It was a server that they had, or that Tan and Mr. Robot was wanting us to play. So,
They're playing the original June on an Amiga. I think I had the actual. I purchased the box because obviously back then it was all box done games, and if I remember rightly, it was one of those games that came with a massive paper-based manual. You know, you remember back in the day when you could get games with a manual that thick.
yeah, I used to love that. My last one that I got, well, I've said it before, but it was Mortal Kombat 3. That was when they came out with the run button. And I fell in love with the run button, but you had to know the secret codes in order to do it in the combos. You know, that's when they first started coming out with combos. And we went all over Kansas City, South Kansas City, looking for freaking Mortal Kombat 3. We couldn't find it anywhere. We ended up finding it on a bookshelf at like a grocery store.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know how they have all the magazines and everything? Like, that's where we ended up.
Oh, yeah. The sort of included CDs and tapes back in the day.
Yeah. Well, this one, if it had any CDs and tapes, it was stolen. You know, the bastards. Now,
look at this. They have floppy disks on them.
Now, in the Revenge and Rivalry thing too, one of the most notable aspects for like this Nemesis program is its